Not this again! But why else would you hire Shawn Levy to direct Deadpool 3? Let's discuss. This is interesting. The plot thickens. So, Kevin Feige and Bob Iger have both said that they plan to keep Deadpool an R-rated franchise. Yet Bob Iger ain't around no more. And Feige just agreed to hire a director who has never made an R-rated movie, but has just made a very successful PG-13 movie starring Mr. Ryan Reynolds. Two, actually, but one for Disney. We'll see how the Adam Project does this weekend. It's not as good as Free Guy. But I did like Ryan Reynolds' tweet about his Shawn Levy trilogy. Now, Free Guy, quite honestly, has a lot of the same qualities as Deadpool. In fact, a lot of people were talking about that when the movie came out. It's quirky, features weapons. That pink bunny would be right at home in a Deadpool movie, and has lots of meta Disney Marvel jokes that were fantastic. Now, to just totally upfront, I have not heard anything about Deadpool 3 and how it will be rated. There's no, scoop or behind the scenes information about that right now. And I think fans would obviously love another R-rated entry. Plus, R-rated superhero movies, as I'm sure many of you are typing right now, including Deadpool 1 and 2, have made a heck of a lot of money. So, Joker even joined the $1 billion club. But I do think that Deadpool 3 would make even more money as a PG-13 film if done right, and would be guaranteed $1 billion. Joker is the rarity, the exception instead of the norm. And that from a business perspective, I think that Disney Marvel, instead of Fox Marvel, really doesn't have a choice in the matter, as I'm going to once again lay out for you. And Shawn Levy, I believe, is a vital asset to making this PG-13 Deadpool work out. I can't think of any other reason that they would hire him for this gig, because if it's not to make a PG-13 Deadpool, he's not a good choice. He's not a good choice if that's not the reason why you hired him. So yes, Levy and Reynolds have been rewarded by the mouse for delivering Free Guy. Not only a huge pandemic hit at the box office, but now it's doing incredibly well on streaming. And so they've given them the keys to Deadpool 3. That is quite the reward, which is starting to move very quickly now. And they've brought back the original writers to rewrite the script that they had two other writers take a crack at first. But Reynolds knows what I think at the end of the day, we all have tremendous faith in Ryan Reynolds, and we know that the Deadpool is in good hands. So yeah, he brought back the original two guys, and he agreed to have Shawn Levy direct this movie. So that's, I think, very interesting there. Marvel has 4 release dates reserved for 2024. They've got February 16th, May 3rd, July 26th, and November 8th. And Feige's got Deadpool 3 and Blade in pre-production, so they're definitely getting 2 of those dates. And then the only other movies he's really kind of working on, officially, there could always be a surprise, Captain America 4 and Shang-Chi 2. So maybe those are the 4 movies for 2024, but it's definitely going to be Deadpool 3 and Blade there. And I would give Deadpool 3 either of those summer dates. I think he'd do very well in either May or July. Now, the first 2 Deadpool movies were directed by Tim Miller and David Leitch, who both have a ton of experience directing action. Tim Miller came from the world of video games, and David Leitch, of course, John Wick. And he'd done Atomic Blonde at that point. Big action directors. So again, why pick Shawn Levy for the 3rd film, who has never directed an action movie and specializes in slightly edgy PG-13 comedies? Unless you're planning to say to hesitant audiences, Deadpool 3 might be rated PG-13, but you liked Free Guy, didn't you? That's the hook. And I think that's the reason that they probably did this. We'll see. As I've said before and as I'm saying now, Ryan Reynolds is very smart and a savvy businessman. If he keeps Deadpool rated R, let's play this out from a business perspective. First off, it would make Deadpool 3 the first MCU movie that kids could not go see. Now, sure, a lot of parents took their kids to see the first 2 rated R Deadpools. But it's one thing for Fox to ask parents to take their children to see an R-rated movie, and quite another for Disney. Live by the brand, die by the brand. Disney gets a ton of benefit from their strong brand. And occasionally it's a problem. And unfortunately, this is one of those instances. But the good so much outweighs the bad. Maybe not for you, but for the company. I don't know if Marvel can ever realistically make an R-rated movie despite all their promises. They're like, oh yeah, we'll make one. I don't think they ever will, because the whole point of the MCU is that everything is connected. So how can you age gate a part of that story? And once people get in the habit of skipping an MCU chapter, well, Feige doesn't want that to start happening. And I know some of you might be skipping chapters here and there, particularly as it becomes more and more prolific, but for the most part, everyone's watching every chapter at least once. And the reality is usually multiple times. And of course, there's ways, there's ways around the age-gated content, but, again, this is not Fox Marvel, it's Disney Marvel, and they have to be very careful. It's tough. It's tough being the mouse. I'll cry for the mouse. Yeah, no one's going to do that. But anyway. Plus, as I've said all along, little kids love Deadpool. Disney and Ryan Reynolds, because I'm sure he would get maybe a piece of the action or certainly be paid more for the movies because of this. Would love to see Deadpool in the theme parks. Hello, Avengers Campus, right? Disney merch, cruise ships, and more. And you really can't do that. Disney can't do that with an R-rated character. I think it's too difficult for them. Now, does that mean sadly we'll never get to see Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe as a movie or streaming series? I think that's very good. I think probably not. And that is too bad. I would agree as a fan of that story and someone who can see the potential. But not only do I think that you can't do that with a Deadpool property, but I think, it would be hard for Disney to have these beloved Marvel characters, have a place where they were slaughtered and have that footage out there. I just think it's very difficult. I don't know if it's worth the short-term gain for the potential long-term loss to the brand. Now, and some of you, I'm sorry, but Marvel is a family brand. That's why it makes so much money. And that's why Warner Brothers doesn't have these restrictions, and Warner Brothers should be leaning into that, because that's when Joker made $1 billion. The Batman's on track to do the same. The Dark Knight, that's Warner Brothers is the anti-Disney. And so that's the balance, the circle of life for us, right? Marvel does the Disney type stuff. DC's supposed to do the Warner Brothers type stories. And Deadpool, unfortunately, is a Disney Marvel character. Also, here's something interesting. All I'll tell you is that very, very soon you're going to see Deadpool in a PG-13 movie. And we'll see what you think of him. We'll see what you think of PG-13 Deadpool. Again, Ryan Reynolds is very smart and very clever. If anyone can find a way to turn a PG-13 Deadpool into a running gag to wink at the audience about the absurdity of it and turn that negative into a positive, it's Ryan Reynolds. I think he would be able to do a great job with that. I'd be like, think of it as a challenge, Ryan. That's what I would do if I were Kevin Feige and Bob Chapek. I'd be like, right, it's going to be, have fun with it. I would give him really a lot of leeway. And I would be like, you can even have violent action scenes and we'll just censor them. We'll put stuff over the, that's what I did when I do the Mortal Kombat trailer reactions. I put emojis and stuff over the R-rated parts. I think just make it barely PG-13 and adults and even kids will know what's behind that emoji. And then just muscle the MPA into approving it, even though it's just barely PG-13. After all, Turning Red is clearly a PG-13 movie, yet somehow it got a PG rating. Disney, such a mob boss. I think that's causing a bit of a problem for Turning Red, by the way, that it's not correctly rated. And so, I think audiences should always know what they're getting into. And we'll discuss Turning Red's situation tomorrow on Movie Math. But with Deadpool, this is the third film. Audiences know what they're getting at this point. And so you would just be making it, it would be like reverse engineering it for a bigger audience. So do you think Disney Marvel is preparing you for a PG-13 Deadpool movie by hiring Shawn Levy to direct? And after seeing Free Guy, does that maybe change how you feel about it? I know some of you will die on this hill, and I'm curious to see what happens. Let's just see. Again, we'll see, and you'll see a PG-13 Deadpool very soon. So what do you think? And also, would having more Deadpool be worth the trade-off to you, that you could see Deadpool at the theme parks and all those things? And again, I know some of you will be like, well, why can't I anyway? Well, that's just the world. That's just the way it is, man. All right, so you got to make some choices. So share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.